Here we have a watch from Kuoe Kyoto. Nice linen pouch to hold everything inside. Let's open this up here. And inside we get a black box. Kuoe Kyoto at the top there. Very simple. Let's take this lid off. And let's check out what we get inside. So here's the inner box. Let's look at these things first. We're getting a bracelet adjusting tool and a strap as well. So let's take a look at this. So here's the strap, this nice black strap, curved ends as well, quick release spring bars, very nice, feels quite nice too, very soft and rather thin. We're also getting a microfiber cloth, and I believe these will be your cards of information. This little envelope here has Kuoe Kyoto on it as well. Nice little touch. Let's put these back in. Nothing else inside, but we do have this here. So it is a travel box. And inside is the watch. Let's put the watch to the side for now. The pillow is nice and soft with some structure, has this brown lining like the inside of the box itself. And what I like about this box is it has rounded edges, which gives it a nice look. And also when you're opening it up, you notice that it has this thick edging here, which does make it feel rather sturdy. So compared to some other travel boxes I've handled, this one does feel rather nice, and it is a nice touch that you're getting a box, but also it functions as a travel box. Let's go ahead and remove these stickers before we take a closer look. Here it is, guys. This is the Kuoe Kyoto Sombrero. Some quick specs. This watch is coming in at 38mm for the case diameter. It has a 45.5 lug to lug, 20mm lug width, and about 12.45mm thick. We are getting anti-reflective coating on the sapphire crystal here, double screw down crowns for 200 meters of water resistance, and this one is running on the Miyota 9039. Now taking a look at this dial composition, we're getting quite an interesting look here. On this main dial, we're getting this linen-like texture, which kind of reminds me of the pouch it came in. So a nice little touch. And that linen texture, or this brushed crisscross pattern, really gives the watch this warming element, especially when you compare it with the faux patina. It just works together to give this humble sensation when I look at this watch. Now, this inner rotating bezel here, we can see, has this circular brushing motion going on. So you are getting quite a matte appearance with this watch. But what I like about this is that contrasting brushing motion from the inner bezel there compared to the textures on the dial do give each component a bit of contrast, so you do get that separation, so it's easier to read that inner bezel if you're looking for that, and if you're just looking at the dial. So it's not all one uniform texture, it is different, and I like that. I like how you can distinguish the bezel from the dial itself, and it just makes it look more like a diver, because with dive watches you kind of want the bezel to be more prominent. For the hour markers, we're getting a mix of numerals and indices here, which is something that drew me to the watch in the first place and gives it this field watch aesthetic despite being a diver, which I quite like. It gives it that added versatility. And when we think about a dive watch, you're usually going to get that traditional format, the triangle at 12 with the circles, but here the added numerals really just change the look of the watch and give it this tool-like appearance, and it just makes me want to go exploring in this watch. The faux patina does a great job at giving the watch that vintage look that Kuoe is so familiar with, and you'll find it on the numerals, the indices, as well as that inner rotating bezel there. So we'll cut off the lights and take a look at this lume. We can see from the lume here, we're getting lumed 12, 3, 6, and 9 numerals, as well as all the hour marker indices and that inner rotating bezel there. Now, despite it being faux patina, the lume is rather good, which is great to see, given that I've had other watches in the past where the faux patina kind of dims down the brightness of the lume, like on the khaki field. So great to see that the lume is going strong here. Taking a closer look at the hour markers, we are getting applied elements here, and the numerals are brushed and those intermediate indices are brushed as well, but they do have an extra faceted edge that's polished, and that little detail is quite nice when you consider the extra polished segments of the case here. And the handset also brushed, so everything does flow quite nice together. The brushing really links well with that brushed dial there. Coming to the case, we're getting a rather sleek silhouette with how slender these lugs are, and if we take a look, we can see they do have this tapering beveled edge here that looks extremely nice and just flows so well into the lug tips from that polished bezel there. The sides of the case are brushed, as well as the top of the lugs, and the crowns are also brushed as well, and they have this conical structure to them that I quite like. It allows them to stand out and gives them that larger shape, which I do like when it comes to a diver. I like big crowns on a dive watch. The overall finishing on the case is well done. We can see how clean the transitions are from the brushing to the polishing. It just gives the watch a very refined look and is a great look for the watch. It kind of elevates it from just being a simple diver, giving it this added layer of sophistication. The case back is solid, so unfortunately we don't get to see into the movement, but it does help to reduce the overall thickness of the watch. Now, both of these crowns are screw down crowns, so this one at the bottom, when you unscrew it, will let you adjust the hands here, and you can screw it back in. This crown at the top, unscrew that, and you get access to that inner rotating bezel there. It does slide back and forth as well. You can line everything up the way you want and screw it back down. That way you don't have to worry about accidentally misaligning that bezel. Taking a look at the bracelet, I've gone for the flat link version, but they do offer a Jubilee. Now, I've gone for this because it has that all brushed appearance, giving the watch a more rugged look compared to the flashier Jubilee. What I like about this bracelet is the links aren't actually completely flat. They do have some slight curvature to them, which is something I quite like. It adds a bit of interest to the bracelet. The finishing here is also rather nice with fine brushing, and is especially nice when we look at how it flows from the watch head to the bracelet itself. The brushing is just matched so incredibly well. Look at the lugs and then look at those end links. The brushing is very uniform, and it does make it look like it belongs on the watch, which some other watches out there, it just looks like they've slapped on a bracelet. But here it has a very cohesive look and it looks right at home on the watch. For the clasp, we're getting a milled and signed clasp, but it also has a micro adjustment feature. Here, this little latch, press it down and we can access the micro adjustments. Very easy to use, and It's not too bulky either. Here it is on my 6.5-inch wrist, and again, this is a 38mm watch. The watch is very comfortable, and despite how big those crowns are, they don't get in the way at all. This bracelet is fantastic, no hot spots, and the watch just feels great on the wrist. It is a rather compact size, so it will work with a majority of wrist sizes as well. The taper on the bracelet here is rather minimal, and I think it would have looked much better with more of a taper, but overall the watch wears great. There's my first impressions and unboxing of the watch. Once I spend more time with it, I'll do a more in-depth review. Let me know what you think about this watch in the comments, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more watch content. I'll see you in the next one.